What would you do if no one was watching? An old shopkeeper pretends to be blind, leaving his cash box wide open. A hungry boy reaches in, and what happens next exposes a thief, saves a life, and proves that one honest choice can rewrite two destinies. Stay, because this story will restore your faith in humanity. The afternoon sun poured through the wide glass window of Mr. Rashid's toy shop like liquid gold. Wooden shelves lined the walls, stacked with puzzles, stuffed bears, miniature cars, and jars of colorful candies that glowed like stained glass. The air smelled faintly of cedar and peppermint. Behind the counter, Rashid sat motionless in a wicker chair, white thob crisp against the wood, dark sunglasses resting on his weathered face. A book lay open in his lap. To anyone passing by, he looked like a blind man lost in stillness, perhaps dozing in the warmth. But he wasn't. On the counter beside him sat an old metal cash box. The lid was flipped back, exposing a chaotic pile of crumpled bills, 5s, 10s, 20s, even a few 50s wedged at odd angles, coins scattered across the velvet-lined interior like forgotten stars. It wasn't carelessness. It was a test, a deliberate, aching test born from betrayal. 3 weeks ago, Rashid's nephew, the boy he'd raised like a son, had stolen from the register and vanished. Trust, once a sturdy thing, had collapsed into splinters. Now, Rashid watched the world through tinted lenses, waiting to see if goodness still existed, or if he'd been a fool to believe in it. The bell above the door chimed softly. Rashid's pulse quickened. A small figure stepped inside, shoes scuffing linoleum, breath shallow and cautious. The boy was maybe 10 years old, skinny in a way that suggested missed meals, not growth spurts. His clothes hung loose, a faded blue shirt with a torn pocket, jeans stained at the knees. His sneakers had holes near the toes. He clutched a wrinkled dollar bill in one hand, knuckles tight, as if it might escape. His name was Jamal, though Rashid didn't know that yet. Jamal's eyes swept the shop, wide with wonder. He'd passed this store 100 times on his way home from the overpass where his mother sold handmade bracelets. He'd never gone inside. Toys were for other kids, the ones whose fathers came home, whose mothers didn't cry over utility bills. But today was different. Today he had $1. Enough, maybe, for a small candy or a plastic soldier. Enough to feel for 5 minutes like a normal kid. He approached the counter slowly, the way you approach something fragile. That's when he saw it. The cash box, open, unguarded, bills fanned out like an invitation, more money than Jamal had seen in his entire life. Behind the counter, the old man sat perfectly still, sunglasses reflecting nothing, chest rising and falling in the rhythm of sleep or blindness or something else Jamal couldn't name. His heart hammered. The dollar in his hand suddenly felt tiny, useless. Mama's voice echoed in his head. "We don't steal, baby, no matter how hard it gets. That's not who we are." But his stomach growled, a sharp twist that made his vision blur. The eviction notice was taped to their door. 3 days left, 3 days before they'd be on the street. Jamal's hand trembled. He reached toward the box. Rashid's breath caught behind the dark lenses. His fingers twitched against the armrest. This was the moment. The boy's hand hovered over the cash, fingers splayed, hesitating in the air like a bird uncertain of its perch. Rashid braced himself for the worst, the confirmation that the world had gone cold, that his nephew's betrayal wasn't an anomaly but a preview. Then Jamal did something unexpected. He pulled his hand back, slowly, deliberately. He stepped away from the counter, clutching his $1 tighter, and turned toward the shelves. His eyes landed on a small bin near the window, marked $1 or less. Inside were tiny treasures, erasers shaped like animals, plastic rings, keychains, stickers. Jamal picked up a small rubber dinosaur, green with a chipped tail. He stared at it for a long moment, then set it down. Instead, he chose a sheet of sparkly star stickers. His mother loved stars. She used to tell him stories about constellations before his father left, before the bills piled up, before everything got hard. Maybe, Jamal thought, if he brought her something bright, she'd smile the way she used to. He walked back to the counter and placed the dollar beside the cash box, not inside it, beside it. "Excuse me, sir," Jamal said softly, voice barely above a whisper. "I'd like to buy these. Is $1 enough?" Rashid didn't move. Jamal waited, shifting his weight. Sir? Still nothing. Jamal's face fell. He thinks I'm lying, Jamal thought. He thinks I touched his money. Panic fluttered in his chest. He set the stickers down gently and turned to leave, eyes burning. I'm sorry for bothering you, he whispered. Behind the sunglasses, a single tear slid down Rashid's cheek. Wait! Rashid's voice cracked through the silence like a branch snapping. Jamal froze mid-step, shoulders hunched, bracing for accusation. The old man lifted his sunglasses slowly, revealing eyes that weren't clouded or distant, but sharp, glistening, fully aware. Jamal's mouth fell open. You're not blind? Rashid shook his head. No, son, I'm not. He stood, joints creaking, and walked around the counter. Up close, Jamal could see the lines etched deep around Rashid's eyes, the kind carved by years of watching, worrying, and now wondering. I left that cash box open on purpose, Rashid said quietly. I've been testing people, customers, strangers, even children. Jamal's face flushed with shame and confusion. Why? Because someone I trusted stole from me, Rashid admitted, voice heavy. My nephew, the boy I raised. He took everything I'd saved and disappeared. After that, I started to believe that honesty was a fairy tale, that everyone would take if they thought no one was watching. He gestured to the cash box. You had every reason to take. I saw your shoes, your clothes. I watched you stand there, hungry, desperate, but you didn't. You chose a dollar sticker for someone you love instead of $100 for yourself. Jamal's lip quivered. My mama says stealing makes you small, even if you get away with it. Rashid's throat tightened. Your mama is a wise woman. He picked up the star stickers and pressed them into Jamal's hand. These are yours. No charge. But consider it a gift for reminding an old man that goodness isn't gone. It's just quiet. Jamal clutched the stickers like treasure, nodded, and whispered, Thank you, sir. As he turned to leave, Rashid called after him. What's your name, son? Jamal. Jamal, come back tomorrow. I have something for you. The next morning, Rashid arrived at the shop an hour early. He brewed tea, straightened shelves, and set the cash box in its usual place, deliberately messy, deliberately tempting. He hadn't slept much. Jamal's choice replayed in his mind like a song he'd forgotten he loved. But doubt lingered too, a low hum beneath the hope. What if Jamal told someone? What if word spread that the blind shopkeeper was an easy mark? At 9:30, the bell chimed. But it wasn't Jamal. A man in his mid-20s strolled in, expensive sneakers squeaking on the floor, gold chain glinting against a designer tracksuit. His eyes swept the shop with the casual arrogance of someone used to taking. Rashid recognized the type. This was Kareem, a regular who bought nothing but always lingered too long near the register, always watched where Rashid kept the deposits. Morning, old man, Kareem said, voice slick as oil. You really should lock that up. He nodded at the cash box. Someone could just walk off with it. Rashid smiled thinly, sunglasses back in place. I trust people. Kareem laughed, a sound without warmth. That's stupid. Trust gets you robbed. He wandered toward the back shelves, but Rashid noticed his phone was angled toward the counter, recording. Mapping, planning. 10 minutes later, Kareem left without buying anything. Rashid watched him go, jaw tight. He pulled out his phone and called his friend, Officer Habib, who worked at the precinct 2 blocks over. Habib, I need a favor. Can you keep an eye on my shop tonight? I think someone's planning something. You sound paranoid, Rashid. Maybe. But paranoia kept me alive this long. That afternoon, Jamal returned, clutching a small bouquet of wildflowers. My mama wanted to say thank you, he said shyly. For the stickers. She cried. Good crying, though. Rashid's heart swelled. Jamal, I have a job for you. Just an hour after school, sweeping, organizing, $5 a day. Interested? Jamal's eyes went wide. Really? Really? But there's a condition. You tell me if you ever see anyone acting strange around the register. Can you do that? Jamal nodded, serious as a soldier. Yes, sir. 2 days later, Jamal was sweeping near the window when he saw Kareem outside, peering through the glass, phone in hand, checking the time. Jamal's instincts flared. He set the broom down and walked to Rashid. Mr. Rashid, that man, the one with the gold chain. He's been outside for 10 minutes. Just watching. Rashid's eyes narrowed. Good eye, Jamal. Very good eye. That night, Rashid and Officer Habib set a trap. The cash box sat on the counter, more tempting than ever, stuffed with marked bills and a hidden GPS tracker nestled beneath the velvet lining. A small camera, disguised as a smoke detector, watched from above. Rashid locked the front door, but left the back entrance unlatched, the one visible from the alley. At 11 p.m., the back door creaked open. Kareem slipped inside, flashlight in hand, movements quick and practiced. He'd done this before. He crept toward the counter, glanced around, and reached for the cash box. His fingers closed around the handle. Looking for something? The lights blazed on. Kareem spun, heart slamming. Rashid stood in the doorway, sunglasses off, arms crossed. Beside him, Officer Habib, uniform crisp, hand resting on his belt. Kareem's face drained of color. I was just stealing, Rashid finished coldly. Don't insult me with excuses. Kareem tried to bolt, but Habib was faster, blocking the exit. The door's locked, son, and we've got you on camera. Breaking and entering, attempted theft. That's 2 to 5 years if the judge is feeling generous. Kareem's bravado crumbled. Please, man, I needed the money. I got debts. People after me. Rashid stepped closer, voice low and sharp as a blade. You know what the difference is between you and a boy who came in here with holes in his shoes? He had nothing, and he still chose honesty. You have everything, and you chose theft. Desperation doesn't excuse character, it reveals it. Kareem's knees buckled. I'm sorry, okay? Rashid looked at Habib. File the report. Let the law handle him. He turned back to Kareem. But I'll tell you what I told myself after my nephew betrayed me. Some people will always choose the easy wrong over the hard right. I'm done pretending otherwise. Habib cuffed Kareem and let him out. The shop fell silent again, but this time the silence felt different, not suspicious, resolute. The next morning, Rashid called Jamal in early. You helped stop a theft, he said simply. You were paying attention when I needed someone to. He handed Jamal an envelope. Inside was $50 and a handwritten note for seeing what others miss. You're hired permanently. Weekends, too, if your mama approves. Jamal stared, eyes shining. Mr. Rashid, I don't know what to say. Say you'll keep being who you are. That's payment enough. Rashid smiled, a real smile, the kind that reaches the eyes and stays. 6 months later, the toy shop looked the same, but felt entirely different. A small sign hung near the register. Honesty honored here, apply within. Rashid had hired 3 more kids from the neighborhood, all recommended by Jamal. There was Aisha, who restocked shelves with meticulous care. There was Marcus, who swept like he was erasing every bad thing that had ever happened to him. And there was Lily, who greeted every customer with a gap-toothed smile that could melt ice. The cash box still sat on the counter, but now it was locked, not out of fear, but out of respect for the lesson learned. Trust isn't naive when it's paired with discernment. Rashid had stopped testing strangers. Jamal's choice had been answer enough. One Saturday, a woman in a faded coat entered the shop. She had Jamal's eyes. Mr. Rashid? She asked softly. I'm Jamal's mother. I wanted to thank you. He talks about you every day. You've given him something we couldn't afford. Hope. Rashid shook his head gently. Your son gave me something more valuable. He reminded me that raising good people is the only wealth that lasts. She wiped her eyes and handed him a small bracelet woven from colored thread. It's not much, but it's made with gratitude. Rashid tied it around his wrist. It stayed there for the rest of his life. 3 years later, Jamal stood at a podium in his high school auditorium, accepting a scholarship for business ethics. In his speech, he talked about a cash box, an old man, and a choice made when no one was watching. Character, he said, voice steady, isn't what you do when people see you. It's what you do when you think they don't. In the back row, Rashid sat with tears on his face, clapping until his palms hurt. What would you do if no one was watching? Share your story in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to Humanity Stories for more true-to-heart tales that prove integrity always wins.